Welcome to the Chamber Neighbors Podcast, a show highlighting Chapin's community and commerce. Now here's your hosts, Greater Chapin Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Paul Sadler, and Chapin Neighbors Magazine's Daniel Rendelman.
This is Daniel with the Chapin Neighbors Magazine.
And I'm Paul Sadler with the Greater Chapin Chamber of Commerce.
And Paul, I think we've got a celebrity in the house today.
This might be our first celebrity.
First real celebrity.
First real one. We had a couple that's,
Chapin celebrities.
We do, but this guy has played in the NFL.
Oh, no way.
He has.
That's like a golf thing?
No, it's the football.
Oh. NFL. Okay, so tell me with us today.
Daniel, we've got a treat. We have Tyler Thigpen joining us today on the podcast.
Hello, Tyler. Welcome.
Thank you, guys, man. Excited to be a part of this today.
Tyler has been on many interviews, both on TV, podcast, radio, and never something like this.
No, and he is sweating right now because he is scared of the questions that we're... No, I'm just kidding. He's not.
It could be the heat.
He's not. It's just
could
warm
be the
in
heat.
here. It's warm in here. Thank you to Richardson's Heating and Air for having our heat working.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Absolutely. Well, hey, man, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for
happy to be here, man. It's exciting.
You and your family.
Exciting. This could be the low light of your entire career.
No. Hey, Daniel, this is what's going to make us go viral.
Oh, I
and
see.
world famous.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Almost.
But now this might actually push us over
Yes,
the
Tyler.
edge.
Thank you.
Tell us a little
Hopefully I
bit.
can help you guys.
Hey, we are here for it. So give us all the inside information on everything you know so people listen to this and we go viral.
Something like
and we reap all the benefits.
Right.
We are using you today.
Right.
Your status.
Thank you.
That.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Tyler, and your family and what you do.
So, my name's Tyler Thigpen, like you said earlier. I'm from Winsboro, South Carolina. I went to Fairfield Central High School, went on to college, played college football at Coastal Carolina University down there in Myrtle Beach or Conway, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And played in the NFL for 7 years, 2 years with Kansas City Chiefs, 2 years with the Miami Dolphins, 2 years with the Buffalo Bills, and then finished up my last season with the Cleveland Browns.
Man.
And now I'm, thought I was going to live in Myrtle Beach, but then ended up meeting my wife in 2013, and decided to move back up this way. We got married in 2015, built a house in 2017, had a kid in 2016, had another kid in 2017.
He's got the games now.
I'm telling you, we've done a lot in our
Yeah, you have.
early on in our marriage, and we always say to one another that if we can make it do this, we certainly can make it do anything.
Absolutely.
And now we reside here in the wonderful Chapin, South Carolina.
So let's just ask this before we talk about your career and all that you did and are doing now. Why Chapin? Like, why did you decide to?
Why not Chapin?
Well, why not?
Yeah,
Why not Chapin?
That is the
Okay,
question.
sorry,
but why Chapin?
Yeah, why Chapin?
So I was familiar with Chapin. So I'm from Winsboro, South Carolina.
Yeah.
So it's about 35 minutes from here. And I had two cousins that actually lived in Chapin. So I was familiar with Chapin. And once I was done playing college ball and started professional ball, I was living in Myrtle Beach, bought a house down there, thought I was going to get married, raise a family down there. And then I met my wife who went to Dutch Fork High School.
And Silver Foxes. I guess I can't really say that on a Chapin podcast. I graduated from Dutch Fork.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
But that's okay.
Shame.
Absolutely. And so we got to talking, knew we wanted kids, and really, what it came down to, the conversations we had, I knew that we didn't have much family down there as far as to be able to help with kids and stuff. So we both, kind of talked about that. And really, at the end of the day, coming back up here really wasn't, a hard decision when it came to that because, I knew exactly the area because I'd been back and forth visiting and stuff, friends that were from the area. But once we moved up here, we lived over in Lexington. We actually rented a house over in Lexington for 2 years while we were searching for lake property because I knew I lived on the waterway down in Myrtle Beach, and I was like, I at least want to be on water up here. So obviously I knew about Lake Murray.
Some water.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So we looked for about 11 months. We started in April of 2015, and we didn't buy a lot until March of 2016. So bless our realtor's heart for following us around for our 11 months.
Absolutely.
But as far as Chapin, the reason we chose Chapin was obviously we love the small town feel of it, and certainly growing now. But
Right.
it was just one of those things. We knew it had a great school system, and we knew we wanted our kids to be in a great school system. So that was kind of an easy choice for us.
Yeah.
When it came down to it.
Absolutely. I mean, that I think when I talk to people, who are moving here, the school system is really one of the main factors. The couples that have the families that have young kids, and they are moving here to this area
Absolutely
because of the school systems
You
and
got
the great
school,
schools.
of course, the water, the
Right.
local podcast. I mean, you have all these things that
There is that. There
brings folks, into town. Of course, from Winsboro. So you played for the high school, then you played at Coastal Carolina.
That's correct.
I think you were on the first team,
Yeah,
right?
the inaugural team.
Yeah.
In 2003 was our first season in the school's history. So
Man,
that was an experience.
I bet so.
So I graduated in high school in 2002.
Okay.
We went to Coastal, had a full scholarship. That was the only full scholarship I had. I didn't even play quarterback my senior year in high school. We ran like a wing tee, kind of a run style offense. And my offensive coordinator, my sophomore and junior year, he left my senior year of high school, and he actually had a connection with Coach Bennett. So when it came around to recruiting time, and after my senior season, I actually reached out to him. He reached out to Coach Bennett, and Coach Bennett, I sent him some film, and then ended up going down there for a recruiting visit in February. And they ended up offering me a scholarship. So, so got down there in August of 2002, and we practiced for an entire year.
Really?
And you talking about? I mean, it was an experience.
There's no team. Right? There's no team. All you can
there was
do
no
is
team.
practice.
Yeah, exactly. So we couldn't scrimmage against any other teams. All we had to do was. I mean, and honestly, we had 13 scholarship guys, but we had about 120 total. So we had 107 walk-ons, and there was guys that were like 28-year-old, like that had just started going to Coastal, that had eligibility, that were coming out. I mean, and honestly,
Uncle Rico was showing up to play.
Exactly. I think he actually tried out with me. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
So how'd you guys do that first season?
So, like I said, we went through that whole season of the practice in 2002, and then 2003, our first game was against Newberry College, and we won. So first game we won 21-14.
Oh, that was exciting!
It was crazy.
Was it Newberry High or Newberry College?
Newberry College.
Okay.
Here in college, you have to play against other colleges. Yeah. I know you're not familiar with that.
That's right. I'm still figuring out this whole football thing.
But so we ended up going 6-5 that year. Had a winning record, so pretty. We had a lot of success. I think my sophomore year, we were 10-1. Then we were 9-2, and then 9-3.
So you had a lot of success. That program had a ton of success in its inauguration.
Maybe University of South Carolina needs to take a year off and just practice for a year.
Maybe.
And then come back.
Seems like it worked. Seems like it worked.
Can't get ahead of it.
Yeah.
No,
for sure.
Okay, so you graduating, leaving Coastal Carolina, and you're being recruited.
Yep. So went through the whole draft process. Didn't go to the combine. We had our pro day there at Coastal. I think we had a total of maybe 7 teams. That was the first pro day they ever had. Had a total of 7 teams come, and ended up having a pretty good pro day. Did a couple little recruiting trips after that. You go visit teams. They'll fly you around different things. So that was quite an experience, because the first time I'd ever flown was in December of 2006. So it was right after my senior season. We had an all-star game in Jackson, Mississippi. And so that was the first time I've flown, and then ended up going on those trips to flying different teams. Detroit, I went to Minnesota, Kansas City. I visited Kansas City. That was another team. And then ended up, going all that. All those went well. And then on draft day, ended up getting called in the 7th round at pick 217. So it was pretty special.
That's awesome.
So,
that is pretty cool. How'd you feel? What was going through your mind at that time when they called your name?
It's been tough. I mean, sometimes like the people around me kind of are the ones that almost get the experience, because I've never viewed myself as better than someone. I always say like, hey, I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. I'm not, just because I played professional football doesn't make me any better. But, people that were around me, friends that, experienced it, they thought it was pretty cool. So, I mean, and looking back, there's some other accomplishments that I've had throughout the years, and it's pretty special to when you take a step back and say that I was the first player in Coastal history that was drafted.
That's cool.
First player in the Big South Conference that was drafted. So those are all pretty.
Those are all good
pretty special
professional accomplishments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is.
And
Really
he's so
cool.
he's so humble about that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, I'd have like my car wrapped. You know,
said I played in the NFL.
everyone would know that drove by me.
Oh, there goes that Daniel guy
He's
again.
a water boy again.
So who drafted you?
Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings. That's
Okay.
cold up there.
Yeah. So luckily, I guess I say luckily, I was only there through training camp. They
Okay.
tried to put me on practice squad. At that point, the way the whole process works, they cut you, put you on practice squads, then you go on waivers for 24 hours. And then at that point, another team can pick you up. So whoever puts in, depending on your draft order that year, Kansas City ended up putting in for me. So literally, I'm walking around Best Buy on Sunday after being cut on Saturday. On Sunday, I'm walking around Best Buy. And you're like, you know what? I'm gonna buy myself a PlayStation 3. Because I'm gonna get my apartment next week.
Play some Madden.
And yeah, exactly.
Right.
Play some Madden. And sure enough, my agent calls me while I'm walking around Best Buy. He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm walking around Best Buy. I'm gonna buy a PlayStation." He's like, "Put it back. Kansas City just called. They're claiming you.
Nice.
Here's the number, or excuse me, your phone's probably gonna ring in the next 5 minutes. Kansas City will be calling with your flight information." So sure enough, I mean, I'm putting that back, going back to the car, grabbing, or going back to the hotel essentially where I was staying at, and packing all my bags, and then needless to say, getting a flight. I think at like 6:30 that night to go straight to Kansas City. I landed at like 11:30 at night. Next morning, I'm up at 5 to pass the physical and all this, and it's just like that.
Wow.
Minnesota's in the past, and it's now you're playing for the Kansas City Chiefs at week 1.
Yeah.
So
Whoa.
yeah, so it all
That's
happened
exciting.
pretty fast.
Yeah. Man, that's cool.
Mhm.
That's
It is.
awesome. So you had how many seasons with Kansas City?
I had 2 years in Kansas City, and then my third year there, I ended up getting traded to Miami.
Right. So do you consider yourself an an NFL team a fan favorite of yours? Do you have a favorite?
I would probably
you
say
root for
Kansas
some-
City's my.
Okay.
I mean, I've always cheered for any team that I played for.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, people always ask me, when Buffalo and Kansas City played this past, or here recently, and they're like, "Who you pulling for?" And I'm like, I really just want to see a good football game,
Right.
Because I have a love for the game. It's not necessarily a specific team, a diehard fan. But if I had to say a favorite place that I played or a team I played for would be Kansas City, because that's where I played the most. I
Right.
started 11 games there in 2008.
Yeah.
So
Did
it's
really
pretty
well.
cool. Yeah. So unfortunately, the win-loss column was not very good. But as far as statistics, I mean, we put up great numbers as far as an offense. We just unfortunately had the worst or 31st worst defense out of 32 teams.
Oh, my
And Detroit, who was 0-16 that year, had the worst.
Thank goodness for Detroit.
Look there in Detroit and Kansas City where they were, and now
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. A little different.
little different.
Little different. So
Little
you never
different
played
for
for
Super
San
Bowl.
Francisco, did
You
you?
did not.
So I would assume that in this year's Super Bowl, you are cheering for
The
the
Chiefs, yeah,
Kansas
which
City
is
Chiefs.
seems to be
Taylor
a very
Swift team.
It's very
very
popular.
common.
Taylor
Yeah.
Swift team.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm
My
a
kids
big
say.
fan of that, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be some bets.
There will be a lot of hoopla going on over the
Oh,
next couple of
absolutely.
weeks.
Yeah.
I've already seen that she's got some crazy
Mhm.
trip that she has to
I know. I saw that
6,000
too.
miles.
Yeah.
or
It's
whatever.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. No,
I can
thank
see
you.
her.
So, but those speaking of trips. I mean, you're there at Kansas City, and you're moving, and you're doing this, and I know you sound so humble with kind of just loving the game and those experiences. But when you think about it, it's like 1 out of a million, maybe 5 million of people who get to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's such an opportunity and experience.
So
Well, they say that about youth sports now. I mean, playing in high school is such a small chance to play in high school.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
then to play in the next level in college is an even smaller amount. And then to even make it to a professional league, whether it's football or basketball, baseball.
And then to make it on the Chamber Neighbors podcast.
And then, dude,
I
Tyler,
mean-
let me tell you, buddy, you have made
it's
it.
like one.
You have made it.
I know.
You have now made it.
Now I can get me a billboard on my car.
Yeah, yes. As featured in the Chamber Neighbors podcast. Absolutely.
Oh.
All right, so what are you doing now? We just hanging out with the family, or like what does Tyler do these days?
So I've been doing real estate for. I got my real estate license back in 2018. So I've been doing it for almost 6 years now.
Great.
So just representing mainly buyers and sellers. I definitely want to try to get into the investment side of it. But I hadn't branched over into that yet, just due to how busy we've been.
Sure.
And we're mainly mainly off of referrals. I mean, we do a good job for one person, and they recommend us to someone else.
Mhm.
And my wife, she's had her license. She got her license in 2019, so she's been doing
Okay.
that 5 years. So,
So wait a minute. It's almost like two for the price of one.
yeah, exactly.
Man.
We're
This
not
is cool.
We're not officially a team, but it's one of those things to where if I'm out showing a house and we have another client that needs to be shown a house, she can certainly go show or whatever, as far as if I needed her to do some paperwork or whatever it
I
might
couldn't
be.
decide who would be the quarterback if they were on a team. So
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on that.
Who's it?
Well, she'd be the cheerleader. She's
Gotcha.
at University of South Carolina.
Yeah, that's nice. There you go.
But seriously though, when they work with you, then they have that support.
Absolutely. And usually that's the one thing that we always pride ourselves on, is being available. So we usually will start a group chat with, myself, Whitney, my wife, and then whoever, whether it be another couple,
Mhm.
with their husband and wife or one person. That way, if they send us a question or ask a question, we've got two people on the line that they can reach out and ask a question to.
Mhm.
And whether it's, I may not get to respond right away, but it's usually
Mhm.
whether she'll respond,
Mhm.
whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So
That works.
It's really, like you said, a price or 2-for-1 price. It's really been
you can't
beneficial
beat
for
that.
us.
Can't beat that at all. All right, so we were doing real estate. You've got how many kids?
Got 2 little
Got
girls.
2 little girls.
Yeah.
What are their
They're all
names?
dead.
They're super cute.
That's it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
They're cute kids, man. I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, they are cute kids. And full transparency, my wife might teach one of them down the road. So they are a great family, man. I know that Miss Sadler loves your wife and loves your daughter, and you guys have a great family. And
So what's it like being the girl dad?
So it's something I never thought I would be a girl dad, but I tell you, I treat them. My oldest is Cameron; she's 7. That's who's in Miss Sadler's class. And then my youngest is Allie; she's 6, and she's in Miss Bridges' class there at Piney Woods
Mhm.
Elementary. And man, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's so funny. The first time when we found out we were having a girl, I remember my wife came back from a trip somewhere. I think she came back from Utah with a friend, and she bought like a little cheerleading outfit in the airport.
Mhm.
And when she came home, she was like, do you want to be, you want to know what sex our baby's going to be? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And she pulled out this little cheerleading outfit, and I was like, oh, great. And then I just kind of like rolled over and went to bed. And sure enough,
Great reaction, Tyler.
Great, Dad. I always say I set myself up for failure because it was me and my brother. I just thought I was going to have boys. So I certainly set myself up for failure on that. But sure enough, 15, 20 minutes later, she's over there, crying, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. And at that point, the damage had already been done. But it's one of those things to where the second time around, we ended up finding out we were having another girl, and we weren't even planning. We went on a little baby moon at 6 months, and sure enough, her mom was like, "Y'all don't come back pregnant," and sure enough, we did. And I think we were staying at her mom's house one weekend, and she was watching the baby, and we ended up going out to dinner and coming home, and Whitney's like, I think I might be pregnant. And she took a pregnancy test that night, and it was the one that had like the 1 line, 2 line. I'm like, eh. And then the next morning was the yes, no one. And it said yes. And sure enough, she came downstairs crying, to her mom, because we just weren't ready. We were building a house at the time.
Sure.
We've got a 6-month-old. We're trying to pick out floors and granite or whatever it was. I mean, it was just so stressful. So let's just, if it's already crazy, why not add a baby in the mix?
Why not?
Exactly.
Why not?
But it's funny, when we found out our second was a girl, I laughed. She cried. Because
Reverse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at that point, all I knew was how to take care of the girl.
Dad to a girl. That's right.
And sure enough, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. But like I said earlier, I treat them just like little boys. I mean, I'll slam them on the bed, and Whitney sometimes will be like, "You're playing a little too rough with them." I'm like, "Yeah, but they keep coming back saying, Dad, do it
That's right.
again."
Right. So of course you're gonna do it.
Exactly. So crying a little bit. But I'm trying to toughen them up and make them, that way they don't have to deal with guys like me.
Exactly. So here recently, I just heard about a big honor that you are receiving later this year with is it the South Carolina Hall of Fame?
Yeah, South Carolina Athletic
Hall of Fame. Tell us a little bit about that, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That was an honor that I never thought in a million years I'd be considered for. I'd had acquaintances or friends that had been.
I mean, you're from Winsboro. Like,
Yeah.
I think Winsboro.
Exactly, right?
Right? It's kind of like Nazareth. Nothing good comes from Nazareth. You know? Anyway, sorry. From Winsboro.
You know, when I got the phone call that day, I actually missed the phone call. I was in a closing and gotten a text message. I saw the text message. It said, Russ Bergman, South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame. Give me a call when you get a chance. And I'm like, wait a second. Why would he be calling me?
Yeah.
So calling back, sure enough, he, obviously tells me that I'm going to be part of the class of 2024, be inducted in May of this year. And man, it was just, I was almost left speechless. I mean, I was certainly honored because it was just something when I saw other people going into it, I'm like, man, that's an awesome honor, man. I was like, that's something I would never be considered for. And to get that phone call and be that surprised, I mean, it was almost,
that's exciting.
It was pretty special to be a part of it.
It's special to be recognized by those folks, right?
Absolutely.
Like it's not just Winsboro. It's not just Coastal Carolina. It's not, it's the state of South Carolina Hall of Fame recognizing you for your efforts in high school and college and then in professional.
That's it.
So
Absolutely.
That's exciting.
And that class, Coach Leggett, who was the Clemson baseball coach for those years. You got Marcus Lattimore. I'm pretty sure everybody in South Carolina knows who that guy is. So to be a part of this class, it's pretty special. Lucas Glover, golfer.
Yeah,
he's right as well.
Man.
So it's pretty.
And Tyler Thigpen.
Who appeared on the Chamber Neighbors podcast.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
When you're thanking people at the award ceremony, just plug Paul and Daniel.
Don't forget Paul.
Chamber Neighbors podcast. No,
don't forget Paul. That's funny. That's and looking at how life has changed and what does the future hold? You mentioned, of course, doing the real estate, living here in Chapin with your wife. What do you see for the future?
Certainly continue to do real estate. That's just something we've enjoyed. You can work as hard as you want or as little as you want. So it's given us that freedom to where if, we want to take a vacation somewhere, we certainly can, as long as we got our phone beside us, we're, usually can work from anywhere.
And you've told me vacations are good for business.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like anytime that we're not busy, we always say to one another, let's plan a trip because every time we go out of town for something, it never fails that our phone starts blowing up. So, but it's been fun. We've enjoyed it. It's something I'll definitely continue to do. That's one thing that we really enjoy is just being able to work with people, whether it be first-time home buyers, people that have sold 5 or 6 houses, just to see the process of the excitement on their face when, it's not like you're buying a new T-shirt at Walmart or something, it's a big investment. So, to be a part of that and for people to put their trust in you is really something special that we pride ourselves on to make sure each and every client, whether you're buying a $150,000 house or $1 million house, you're going to have the same experience with us because that's just the way I pride myself. It's I'm no better than you, and certainly just because you can't afford a certain house or a price, that's not going to make me treat you any different. So we certainly pride ourselves.
That's great. Awesome, man. How can people get in touch with you? So if they're listening right now and you're like, you know what? I'm going to sell my house, or you know what? I want to buy a house. How do they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You can call me. My cell number is 803-730-7345.
Do you want us to edit that out? Are you sure you want to put your phone number out there?
Absolutely. That's perfectly fine. My wife's number is Whitney Thigpen. Her number is 803-730-5773.
And we'll put that in the description as well so people can reach out regarding buying land. It's with Signature
Homes and Land Realty. So we're doing houses, land, we do it all.
You do it all. Well, man, listen, we have appreciated you being on this podcast. Thank you for giving us.
He appreciates us.
He does, but we appreciate your credibility now that we're going to get. I'm kidding. It's been great talking to you. Thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself, your family, your career. We really appreciate it. And we're happy to have you here in Chapin.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I love it.
Absolutely. And Tyler, thanks again for being with us. And if you know someone that would like to be featured on the Chamber Neighbors podcast in the future, please shoot us an email. You can reach us at paul@chapinchamber.com.
This has been the Chapin Neighbors Podcast, where we highlight all that makes our community special. We hope you enjoyed our time together. Please like, subscribe, and share the Chapin Chamber Neighbors Podcast.